A big round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. I request Dr. Philip Rusinski, sir, to be on stage. I request all the vice principal and members of organizing committee to be on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, esteemed guests, dear participants, and all my fellow colleagues. It's my honor and privilege to extend a warm welcome to each one of you to the valedictory ceremony of this prestigious multidisciplinary international conference on Indian knowledge system, teaching and curriculum designing, challenges for teachers and future pathway. Over the past 2 days, we have embarked on an insightful journey exploring the depth of the Indian knowledge system, engaging in thought-provoking discussions and exchanging valuable ideas that pave the way for future academic advancements. And as we come to the conclusion of this enriching experience, it is now time to reflect, express our gratitude, and bid farewell, only to meet again with renewed enthusiasm. To begin with the program, may I now request our chief guest and dignitaries to kindly offer a floral tribute to the visionary leader who dreamt of having a university, which is now a reality, and we all are part of it in some or the other way. Honorable Founder Chancellor, Dr. Patang Rauji Kadam Sahib, as the mark of respect and gratitude. I request all the chief guests. Thank you all. I now invite on stage the in-charge principal, organizing president, who was the originator behind this wonderful idea of having a conference on Indian knowledge system, Dr. Vivekananda Rankhambi sir, for his welcome speech.
नागो भाति मदेनकं जलरुहि नित्योत्सवै मंदिरम शीले नैव नरो जबेन तुर्गः पूर्णेन्दुना शर्वरी. The temple becomes temple when it is full of festivities. The man becomes man when he is a man of character and we all are here for this particular noble cause, chasing this particular kind of objective in our life. The chief guest of the valedictory session, Dr. Tariq Mansoor, Honorable Member of Legislative Council, Uttar Pradesh, and former Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University. सर, मैंने जब आपकी छवि इंटरनेट पे देखी तो मुझे गुलाम नबी साहब, आज़ाद साहब की याद आई। हमारे साहब डॉक्टर पतंगराव जी कदम्स को भावभीनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करते हुए उन्होंने कहा था, हमारे बाद अंधेरा रहेगा महफिल में, हमारे बाद अंधेरा रहेगा महफिल में, न जाने कितने चिराग जलाने पड़ेंगे रोशनी के लिए। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ साहब को श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करते हुए, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ ऑनरेबल चांसलर डॉक्टर शिवाजी राव कदम सर, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ ऑनरेबल सेक्रेटरी भारती विद्यापीठ, on behalf of Honorable Vice Chancellor Bharati Vidyapeeth deemed to be University, Honorable Registrar who is there on the dais with us, on behalf of Yashwantrao Mohite College staff, members of the core team, HODs, members of Bharati Vidyapeeth fraternity, all the principals, deans, various stakeholders, I extend you all a very hearty welcome for the valedictory session of this multidisciplinary international conference on IKS, teaching and curriculum designing, challenges for teachers and future pathways. Sir, we all know that in life we have been taught Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. But beyond this, there is one line which is important, and that is Rashtra Devo Bhava. So we all are here to serve our nation in different capacities. Dignitaries on the end of the dais. Our chairman of the person who is chairing this particular session, Mr. G. Jay Kumar, honorable international guest, Dr. Lucy Guest, Philip Rusinski. On the dais, we have with us Principal Dr. Shirish Shindre, Dr. Suhas Moite, the organizing secretary, my vice principals of this particular college, HODs, also the coordinators and conveners of this particular conference. The knowledge partners is Bhandarkar Institute of Oriental Research, Siddhanta Knowledge Foundation, founder Bruhat, Iksha, and along with them we have our co-sponsors Chandukaka Sarav Jewels, Dr. Prasad Khandagale, and Mr. Jayadev Jayanta Barbe. We had a very distinguished guest list of guests with us, Dr. Gauri Mahulikar, Jayaraman Mahadevan, Srinanda Bapat, then Pramod Pathak, Raghav Krishna, Acharya Shreyas Kurekar, Dr. Prashant Dharmadhikari, Dr. Charudatta Afade, Yogi Raj Maharaj Paithankar, Sudhakar Agarkar, Dr. V. Ramanathan, and Dr. Yugan Goel to deliver his valedictory address. As you all know that there were 465 registered participants who participated in this conference, and 193 participants have submitted their papers. The soft copy of the abstract book and also with the full papers, those who submitted, have been already shared with you all. Participants from 10 countries and 19 states of India, 3 union territories, 26 universities and 11 institutes of international repute have participated in this conference, and also the teachers from school education. 140 teachers, 180 PhD students to prepare the next gen research scholars, and also the teachers of IKS participated in this conference. And also there were attendees who participated and represented society from various sectors too. This entire conference was designed by keeping in mind various parameters have been introduced, which have been introduced by NEP, and one of them was adherence to regional language, learning and teaching experience. And so one session was planned in Marathi, and it was conducted today morning. Finally, as far as the things are concerned regarding conference, what I said in my welcome speech, that is what I am going to repeat, that let this conference be the prayer for that All-Father Prajapati and IKS as the Datta Dayadhvam Damayat, the mantra to all problem solutions. As far as the things are concerned, for almost for 3 months, we all people at YM have been taking efforts, and our efforts have been backed by some people. At this moment of time, I'm in a dilemma that where I'm standing exactly, and I remember Aristotle at this moment of time, who had defined exactly what feelings I have and what I experience at this moment. And he said that these are the catharsis, the feelings which we cannot express, the feelings which we cannot define, but some sort of respect, some sort of happiness, some sort of feeling of which cannot be defined in words. That feelings I have at this moment of time, because Honorable Secretary has taken a lot of initiative for organization of this conference. It was backed by Honorable Vice Chancellor, and their involvement was a very decisive moment as far as the entire journey of this conference is concerned. Our Joint Secretary, those who have served this particular college in their capacities as principals, they also joined this. Regarding Suhas Mohite, the organizing secretary, I request you all to put your hands together, because as this is a sort of confession and appreciation for my colleague. मैंने जो पहले सोचा था, जो कॉन्फ्रेंस मेरे दिल में थी, दिमाग में थी, वो एक वैदिक विवाह था, जिसको इन्होंने वेडिंग सेरेमनी बना दिया. So that sort of contribution he has given, and the grandeur whatever you are experiencing, it is because of him. Members of core team, those who have been taking efforts for all the time, vice principals, HODs, and participants, paper presenters, and also those who have joined this particular session in their capacity as examiners and adjudicators for paper presentation and poster presentation session. Some of the participants, they shared with me their experience that this is for the first time in IKS conference they found poster presentation too. So this way, in a way, it became a complete kind of conference. That sort of feelings and feedback I have already received from some of the people. Then we have the entire staff, teaching and non-teaching staff of YM College, not only of YM College, the entire Erendwani campus, all the colleges. Please put your hands together. They have literally changed their schedule, and they have been part and parcel of this particular program. I am thankful to all the principals of this particular campus, all the members of all the committees, the staff of Bharati Printing Press, media, and I also wish to thank everyone, those who have been associated with this, not with a long speech, because we have many things to do, and we have valedictory speech also. So finally, this is also month of Ramadan, and honorable chief guest is Dr. Tariq Mansoor, or there are some participants, those who also keep this particular fast, to wish you all a happy Ramadan. I want to say a few things. वृंदावन में कृष्ण कन्हैया अल्लाहू, बंसी राधा गीता गैया अल्लाहू, थोड़े तिनके थोड़े दाने थोड़ा सा जल, एक ही जैसी हर गौरैया अल्लाहू अल्लाहू, एक ही दरिया नीला पीला लाल हरा, एक ही दरिया नीला पीला लाल हरा, अपनी अपनी सबकी नैया अल्लाहू अल्लाहू. ये मौलवियों का सजदा है, हो रही है पंडित की पूजा, मजदूरों की हैया हैया अल्लाहू अल्लाहू. Finally, we all are here for a noble cause. With these words, I thank you all for your participation and for the responses you have given and made this conference a historic one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. As it is our tradition to honor our distinguished guests, we are now heading towards the felicitation ceremony. So I request Mr. G. Jaikumar, Registrar of Bharati Vidyapeeth deemed to be University, to felicitate our chief guest, Professor Tariq Mansoor, Member of Legislative Council, Uttar Pradesh, and former Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, Uttar Pradesh. Professor Tariq Mansoor has been associated with AMU for several decades, holding positions such as Principal of Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College and Head of the Department of Surgery. He also been a member of Medical Council of India, the apex regulator of medical education and practice in the country. Next, I would request Dr. Rankhambhai sir to felicitate Dr. Yugang Goel, Flame University, Pune. Dr. Yugang Goel is the founding director of Center for Knowledge Alternatives, which studies district-level data and cultures of India. He pursued his doctorate in law and economics from Hamburg, Rotterdam, and he is also an enormous Mundus scholar from the University of Bologna, Italy. His research and advisory interests include development regulation and education. Next, I request Dr. Rankhambhai sir to felicitate Dr. Shirish Chindre sir, retired principal of MU College, Pimpri, Pune. Dr. Shirish Chindre, a renowned English literature scholar, author and educator with over 30 years of teaching experience and 16 years as principal of MU College, Pune. He has authored 12 books, nearly 200 articles, and contributed significantly to the curriculum development, textbook writing, and research. His contribution to Indian English poetry and higher education have earned him prestigious awards including the Adarsh Guru Sanman Puraskar and Mahakavi Kalidas Lakshavedi Puraskar. Next, I request, and he has also visited 45 colleges for NAC accreditation. Then I request Principal Sir to felicitate Mr. G. Jaikumar, Registrar of Bharati Vidyapith deemed to be University. Mr. Gopal Krishnan Jaikumar is the Registrar of our University from the year 2002, which depicts his dedicated service as an academic administrator for a long period. Then I request Dr. Suhas Mohite sir to felicitate our international delegate, Mr. Philip Musinski. Thank you to all the dignitaries. We are now honoring the outstanding contribution of our participants, and hence we are now proceeding towards the distribution of awards. First, the winners of oral presentation will be declared, and then the winners of poster presentation. So, yes, one by one. We'll first declare the first winner, and then first winner of oral presentation and first winner of poster presentation, okay? So the first winner of oral presentation is Dr. Neeta Mohite, D.Y. Patil University, Pune, and I request Dr. Tariq Mansoor to felicitate the winner. Big round of applause for the winners, please. The first prize winner of poster presentation is CA Aarti Patil, who is a PhD scholar of BVDU Pune. Now the second winners of oral oral presentation is Dr. Preeti Zog from BVDU-MGT, Mumbai. We'll felicitate her at the hands of Mr. G. Jayakumar, Registrar of BVDU. Second winner of poster presentation is Mr. Rajat Dey, Physical Education. Mr. Rajat Dey. I request Mr. G. Jayakumar sir to felicitate Mr. Rajat Dey. Third winner of oral presentation is Mrs. Harsha Pisar, Apte School. I request Dr. Yugang Goel to felicitate our winner. Mrs. Harsha Pisar. Poster presentation is Mr. Shivtej Jamnekar, FC College, Pune. I request Dr. Yugang Goel to felicitate the winner. To all the winners and also to those who have participated. I may now request on stage Professor Yugang Goel for his valedictory address.
Well, thank you so much for having me over here. Such a delight in this August gathering of almost 200 people. And extremely delighted, very, very happy and proud to be delivering this valedictory address in the presence of the August presence of these illustrious, the people who are on the dais. I think this is one of those moments when I learn more than I can deliver. But in the spirit of learning while doing, I will be able to put some thoughts on the table. And the reason why the first point that I want to put forth is that, the session is ending, the conference is ending. This was a brilliant 2-day affair. And tomorrow, you will all be into your own universities and colleges, doing your regular things from morning until evening, probably picking up the same type of curriculum that you've been teaching for a while. Engaging with the same students, obviously. Talking about similar ideas that you discussed earlier. What is going to change? If these 2 days do not inspire us into thinking about what can be done differently, then this is, of course, an extremely interesting affair. We all come together, talk about valuable, meaningful ideas through IKS, and if we go back to doing the same things in the same way and the same approach, then I think there'll be an opportunity which will be lost. So I don't want to make claims on what can be done because, in the spirit of Bharat that we live in, every tiny little place has its own context, has its own ways in which it evolves and grows. So I will, of course, leave a lot of that to you. But what I'll do is I'll throw in a few stories which will help, or at least the stories that help me inspire into thinking, what do you do when you engage with IKS? IKS is like a new word, obviously. The government has now begun pushing the argument of IKS into our universities. But it was always there, simply because we all grew up in India. growing up in an Indian family, it's just impossible for us not to develop and cultivate IKS within our thinking and approach. In fact, we have IKS despite education, not because of it. And let us recognize this, for one bit. The problem is when our own education disconnects us from our own community. So think about this as a thought experiment. When you study more, you go to school, primary school and secondary, then you go to college, do your undergraduate. You go to do your master's, and then you do your PhD. It just suddenly appears to you that you are no longer able to talk to your childhood friends in the gali mohalla that you were growing up with. Those people become alien to you. You no longer want to talk to your dada, dadi, baba, amma, because you think that they don't have that intellect and cognitive ability that you now have acquired because you went to your university abroad or maybe university in India. In fact, it's so interesting that the real purpose of education was supposed to connect you to your community more, and it has ended up doing exactly the opposite. Am I right in making this claim that in India today, when students study more, they feel they have few people to talk to or engage with? In fact, the idea of elitism is that an education makes you an elite. So you become so elite that now no longer the same shop, the same dukan that you went to buy milk, you can go and the uncle who used to sell milk, because every person who you buy milk from is your uncle, obviously. Yeah, chachaji, tauji, yeah, uncle. These people, you're no longer going to be talking to them in the same way because now you have achieved something in life. And in some ways, therefore, I think what must happen in pedagogical or curricular framework is that conversations that connect people to their own communities need to come in. You may not necessarily find material around it, and I'm going to give some ideas on what those materials could be. But those conversations have to happen. When a child, I remember when I was in class 5 or 6, when I studied about solar eclipse for the first time. So I'm studying about solar eclipse and lunar eclipse in the following way. That solar eclipse and lunar eclipse are not religious phenomenon. They are simply matters of planetary motions. And so when the moon comes between the sun and the earth, it casts a shadow, and which is why you can't see the sun, and that's why it is solar eclipse. And now I remember back in those in those days, there was a solar eclipse. And I come from a region where it was obviously, cast. And there were all kinds of rituals that we had to follow in our household. My dadi would not let me sit on my bed. We were not allowed to eat, and all kinds of things. And I'm sure all of you would agree with this, that there are some rituals that we follow. Right. Now in class 5, I go to the school and I study about the science of it. I come back and I talk to my dadi and of course my mother and father as well. ये आप क्या बात करते रहते हो? ये तो कुछ है ही नहीं. सारा खेल तो हमने पढ़ लिया स्कूल में. आप क्या बताएंगे? Now, does this mean that what you're taught in school is wrong? Of course not. Surely the planet comes in between. Moon comes in between, and therefore you are unable to. But does this mean that my dada, dadi are intellectual imbeciles? In extreme poverty, they were able to raise their children, get their daughters married, get their sons to study, are able to send me to school, may be able to do some farming. Surely they are very smart people. They would not be able to do that if they were not smart. But what happens is that, and so this is not happening through an active engagement of university systems to disconnect you from your dada, dadi. But by and large, this will happen over a period of time, unless the experience of what goes on in your home is brought into the classroom and given its own weightage. We need frameworks to understand what makes us follow rituals. And we are following rituals because they are age-old rituals. I am following ancestral practice because this is what makes me who I am. Think about it this way. If all rituals go away from our lives and only science remains, obviously what will be the difference between us and robots? Just think of all the rituals away. And I'm not talking about India alone. It's just a matter of fact that India remains a country where rituals have continued despite colonization. In most part of the world, they have all been taken away. And so, in other words, recognizing and bringing what you do in your community into the classroom. When you are going out and collecting chanda so that you can do a bhandara in the local mandir, if that doesn't come into your economics classroom, it becomes, and which brings me to my second point, which is it creates what we call as cognitive dissonance. So the child comes to the school or a college, understands economics, and I can talk about economics in a much more confident manner because that's my subject area. they read about demand supply curves and they go back and realize that in the shop that the Dadaji or uncle or auntie is running that shop, they have never drawn a demand supply curve, but they've been fairly successful. In fact, they will go to a business school and talk about why corporate governance and the board membership has to be very meritocratic, has to be merit-based. But they realize that their own businesses, and big businesses in India, they're all family-owned businesses. Cognitive dissonance is what occurs when we don't bring IKS into the classroom, and this brings, let me give you one more example. So there are a bunch of theories that classrooms, and this particularly happens in university spaces when you study social sciences, humanities, or even otherwise. So one prominent framework that we all grow up with is to say that India is hugely corrupt and Indians are very dishonest. We have heard this hundreds of times. Have we or have we not? In fact, when we go abroad, we make this claim. Yes, of course, we come from a dishonest country. It might well be the case that people are dishonest everywhere. But India in particular, globally around the world, is often given this claim. Now, this is, of course, one statement of theory that you make in the class. What is your experience? And so this is something that I can ask you to think about. More than 90% of India's workforce is employed in informal economy. Do you know what is informal economy? Informal economy is economy that takes place outside written contract and property rights framework, right? So when you buy vegetables from the street, you are basically engaging in informal economy. Almost the entire informal economy, and I would say actually even the formal economy, works on word of mouth. How many times have you purchased something for which you had to sign a contract? In fact, think about, the largest diamond market in the world is Surat, is larger than Antwerp. By volume, if not by value, it is the largest diamond market in the world. And I know this, because my wife comes from Gujarat. Almost the entire business of millions worth more than $1 billion takes place on word of mouth. There is no contract that these Gujaratis sign with each other. Diamonds are transported on word of mouth. If India was a dishonest country, surely word of mouth business should not be happening. Will it happen in a country which is dishonest? In fact, a country where informal economies contribute to more than 60% of GDP has to be a country which must have people who are honest by nature. Otherwise, I can't do business purely in word of mouth. I will need a contract for everything. यहाँ पर तो बुरा मान जाएगा आपका दोस्त अगर आप उसके साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करोगे तो तुझे विश्वास नहीं है मैं तुझे सामान नहीं दूंगा. This is a footnote in economics textbooks. Or alternatively, this is a cognitive dissonance. The child studies in the classroom something which he or she does not see in reality. And so my one big point, and I don't want to make a long speech, but is my own experience of engaging with universities. I sit on NEP steering committee of the government of Maharashtra. I engage with the universities there. My own upbringing and my engagement with universities abroad leads me to believe that unless you bring experience into the classroom, which need not come through a reading material, by the way, it's an unwise, unjust experience. We are doing disservice to students because they experience something else and they read about something else. So they are reading a version of India that doesn't fit into the reality. And this can happen specifically at several levels of your subject matters. People talk about a range of historical past glory that India had. And therefore, we need to bring them into the classroom. I, for one, will say that talking about past glory is something that you can keep aside. Because unless you talk about Lok Parampara or experience of people today in contemporary India, it just doesn't cut ice with students. You're talking about students who are, 20-year-olds, Gen Zs who are constantly on their reels in Instagram. Why will they care about what happened in 5th century? It must be brought into the classroom, but I think IKS is a significantly lot more than just history. And so with this example, let me give you with this framework of bringing class experience into the classroom, let me give you 2 projects. So something that many professors and teachers often ask me is how do we even engage in thinking about IKS if there is no curricular structure or curricular framework? Well, I think teachers being Indians itself is a huge curriculum sitting in their minds, which needs to come out in the classroom. We need to cultivate, curate, document a lot of this literature. But a couple of projects that I'm doing are going to show you some examples of how this can be done. So one of the projects that I'm doing with the Ministry of Education, and it's something which is also a call to everyone, because we are doing this in a collaborative fashion. I'm working with hundreds of people across the country, and I would like to work with more professors and teachers who are interested in IKS. The question that we are trying to answer in this is what makes India one. So when you talk about unity in diversity, you know about diversity a lot. You know about the festival in Punjab, which is Baisakhi, and you know Pongal in Tamil Nadu. But Punjabis and Tamilians don't speak the same language, they don't eat the similar food, they don't have similar customs, the festivals are different. I mean, I can see that these two people are different nations. Why are they part of the same country? Which brings me to the question of nation-state, which is a geographical territory, as opposed to Rashtra, which involves a lot more than that, including Janabhavana. But what makes us one? So I must tell this to you that in 1947, when we got independence, across all political science literature, everybody was predicting that we are going to turn into a dictatorship or we will disintegrate into many countries. This is what happened in Africa and Latin America during those years. So if you read 70s, in fact, when emergency was imposed, many of these political scientists came forward and said, of course, ये तो होना ही था. हमने तो पहले ही कहा था होना ही है. तो देखिए हो गया. But the funny thing is that by now they know that India is a democracy and a flourishing one at that. But the question still remains, if you pick up any book on India, a non-fiction, they all remain confused about this. In fact, scholars have made careers out of claiming that India is an improbable democracy. We don't know how this country with millions of different kinds of cultures remains as one country. And so to look at what makes us one, we need to go deeper. It's an extremely profound question, but I can't bring that profound nature in the classroom in the same way in a in a undergraduate classroom the way I can bring it in a PhD classroom. So what do? Well, we start looking at why is it that when I, who comes from North India, run into somebody from Northeast, in a country like Germany, I somehow feel connected, even though we have nothing in common. Well, this is because of, there's one of the hypotheses that we work with is, well, maybe because we look at life differently. We look at Jivana differently. So Jivan Darshana, which is loosely translated as philosophy. Well, Jivan Darshan might be same. So while there be Pongal in Tamil Nadu, Makar Sankranti in Gujarat, or Lodi in Punjab, they're all celebrating harvest festivals. So deep down, there must be some Jivan Darshana, there must be some life philosophy which is similar. Can we trace those life philosophies ourselves through our own life experiences and bring them into the classroom? And can we bring that into the classroom in Odisha, where we talk about Jivan Darshana of Chhattisgarh or Kerala or Northeast? So we are curating a huge amount of content. Let me give you examples of 4 or 5 Jivan Darshana that people who, by virtue of them being born and brought up in India, automatically absorb, which is different from generally the Jivan Darshana of a Western society. By the way, most of your textbooks, including all disciplines, and I'm not talking about physics obviously because that's different, because that's kind of fairly universal in some sense, most of the textbooks are constructed through the experience of European civilization. And so it is possible that a lot of these things will match, but a lot of them will not, which is why the cognitive dissonance happens. So a future pathway will include to locate these Jivan Darshana, for example. One such could be relationship with nature and agriculture. For us, nature is sacred, let me put it differently. We don't consider there is a vertical hierarchy that humans are above nature and nature is out there to exploit. I can give a really long lecture to explain what kind of literature has emerged in the West on why nature subordinate to human beings has been the dominant mantra of Western civilization. This has not been the case here. This does not mean that we don't cut trees. This means that we look at nature differently. We will probably apologize before we cut a tree. In some ways, we will actually thank before we start eating. We do a slight bit of thing. We have, and this is not animist behavior that we are nature worshippers because we are superstitious. We are also investment bankers and we are working in NASA. So let's please keep that aside. That somebody, this is something that many people, this is a cognitive dissonance, right? My father does a puja part, quote unquote, believes in idol worship, but he's also, running numbers in banks. How is this possible? He's a mathematician at one level, but this person is also, idol worshipper at another. Well, it fits into our framework. We don't have vocabulary to explain it. And this is why we need IKS. There's a lot of work happening across the country, I can tell you, which is trying to evolve a framework that explains this, because in the Western sense of the word, my dada dadi, when they are performing some rituals, they are superstitious. These are all colonial words. These words came only during colonial period. You cannot, that's a longer conversation. But nature and agriculture. Think about the tragedy that happened with Salman Khan. Salman Khan is one of the most popular, actually one of the most powerful people in India. He kills a deer in a village in Rajasthan. People kill deers all the time and they get away with it. He could not get away with it. Why? I mean, Salman Khan killing a deer, it's not even killing a human. I mean, people get away with killing humans. He just killed a deer. Why couldn't he get away with it? Because he killed the deer in the community, in the village, which was dominated by communities of Bishnoi. Bishnoi community. The word Bishnoi comes from Bishnoi, 20 rules. For them, there is no sense of humor about killing deers. And so they dragged him to court. He couldn't have bribed them because nature is separate for them, different for them. When Dongriya Kondh tribe defeated Vedanta because they worshipped a hill in Odisha and Vedanta wanted to mine it for bauxite, that defeat reflects something that we have with respect to nature. You will find all of this in newspapers, maybe not textbooks. Bring them into the classroom is what my suggestion is. It will change the character of how people... So IKS is not a subject. I personally believe IKS should not be taught as a separate subject of 2 credits because then you're kind of losing it. IKS it's an approach which needs to be incorporated in every subject. So think about, for instance, the other philosophies, somehow family is important in this country. More important than in other civilizations. Why do we know this? Well, we know this because we don't have uncle and aunt as the only name for our relatives. Every relative, and I'm talking about 20 relatives will have different names to be called by. They will have different roles during birth, death, marriage, all of this. Mama ji agar nahi aaye shaadi pe, to ek particular ritual hoga hi nahi unke bina. And this is interesting. And by the way, this is not just rituals. I was in one of the top Indian Institute of Management in this country, and I'm talking to the students. I'm giving a lecture there, and I'm asking them, tell me, is a company with family-owned business more likely to do well, or a company where the CEOs are not sons and daughters of the owners? The CEOs or the management is decided on the basis of merit. And they tell me, well, of course, the company which has meritocratic CEOs, that's the company to look for. And then I ask them, what companies have you invested in, your stocks? And all of the companies they tell me are all family-owned businesses, whether it's Jindal's or Reliance. Okay, so I'll have to conclude. Now, which means family-owned businesses needs to be extremely important part of your curriculum in business school framework. Unless you bring these experiences, it doesn't work. And one such, for instance, is in economics, and I could have gone on and on. I'll give the last one, which is talking about the informal economies, and I did mention about it. If I have to do business in India, what is the knowledge framework that I need to have? Do I need to have the knowledge framework of how a contract is written, or do I need to have a knowledge framework of how relationships are built? You do businesses through relationship. I met Santosh ji. In fact, let me end this with this beautiful anecdote. Just before coming here, I met Santosh. Santosh ji, I don't know if he's here. Prashant ji. So he takes care, he's like managing this conference. And he tells me a story that when he was a child, Patang Rao sir took him by his shoulder and said, "Kya kar raha hai tu? Kuch karta nahi hai? Chal tere ko padhana hai." From a village in Sangli, he picked him up in his car, brought him to Pune, got him enrolled in a school, came to college. So he's working here since last 22 years. Why would he come here? You tell me one framework in Western sciences that will explain this relationship driven. And by the way, this is not just Santosh. Santosh is an example, and I'm just absolutely delighted to be in Bharati Vidyapit because I know families and families are connected. I mean, hundreds and thousands of families are connected through this one family of Bharati Vidyapit. This is just impossible to be explained through the lines of Western disciplines. I'm going to end it here because I know there are more illustrious guests to be talking about something similar or maybe a little different. But just wanted to thank the organizers, the management, principal sir, the dean sir, and I hope that this is just the initial part of a longer conversation that we can go through in curating, cultivating, and documenting our cultures that creates this material which must be brought into the classroom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I now invite on stage Mr. G. Jaikumar for his speech.
Good evening to all dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Our knowledge system is not a new one. It is for years together we were having it. Now a situation has come where we have to revive our knowledge system, because that was not given that much of importance to bring it, because we were all interested in going to that Western culture and bringing the Western culture in our life, and slowly we are forgetting our Indian system of living that has created a lot of problems for the life, and therefore now a necessity, a time has come, we have to bring, revive and sustain our Indian knowledge system. That necessitated the conference. Otherwise, what is the need for making this conference Indian knowledge system and how it should be brought into our curriculum? That itself says it is not there in the curriculum. What we are bringing to the curriculum, which is absent in the curriculum. Therefore, the Indian knowledge system is right now not available in this curriculum. Not only that, if you wanted to bring the curriculum, you are going to face the challenges, and how you are going to face the challenges, that is to guide. This conference has been organized, and it has been for past 2 days. Many eminent persons have already addressed, and I hope this conference would have been very much beneficial to all the participants. Let us see our epics. Even the architecture, you can see the Pragadiswara temple in Tanjore or the Sun temple. These are all constructed by our elders, ancestors. Is it, or they were trained in the architectural college, or they have been trained well-versed civil engineers? No. But today, the shadow of the temple cannot fall on the earth, how it has been designed. So these are all monuments. Not only monuments, from there we should learn. Our culture, our system is not new. It was existing and we have not nurtured it. Now in Bharat, if you see the Mahabharata, what is the main starting point of the Mahabharata? That uncle has called for making the play. Why he called for that? It is to settle the score for the injustice done to his sister. So the Saguni has called and organized for the play to settle the score with Dhritarashtra for the injustice done to his sister, and a blind man has married to the sister. So that created, and then they played and they lost everything. The entire story, you know that, the Mahabharata started. So any one person comes, what is the thing we should learn from that? A person is coming to you, a person is very close with you, he is talking to you something, and then he is instigating you because he may have a score to be settled with some person. That is why he is so creating you, initiating you to go for that. So we should learn out of that what we should do and how we should behave, how we should mend our life. Many things may come, because our Sahib always used to say, all people will come and tell, I will hear, but finally I will act what is coming to my mind. Because he will not be guided by the gossip, or he will not be guided by the people who tells anything, and he will analyze what exactly good, what exactly should be done, what should not be done. That is the reason today, after 60 years, this Bharati Vidyapith is coming to this level because of his thinking and how it should be, what is to be done, the right thing, only the right thing he adopted and he did. We have to learn from everybody's life. What is there, what is good for us, how we have to live our life. In Mahabharata, same Mahabharata, if you see that, the people should say Krishna is the God we worship. He knows everything. But when the play was inside, when Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana and these Pandavas were playing, he should have gone and he should have stopped the play, so that the entire Mahabharata would have been avoided. Why he has not done? Because the Dharmas, the Pandavas were praying that he should not come, because he should not come, and by this time, before he comes, the play should have been completed, so that he will not know that the Pandavas are a participant in this play. So that is the main reason he has not come. But when the things were gone bad, and then the lady was brought into, the queen was brought into the stage, and then they wanted to remove the saris, and dress was removed, she has prayed. She told that, Lord, Dwarka Nirayachudha, don't come from Dwarka to this place, because it will take time. Dwarka Nirayachudha, you be there only. Stay there, from there you save me. That is why he saved. So what we learn, when you go for with good intention, when you approach a person with a good ideas and good thoughts, you will definitely get a help. And if you approach, or if you think, if you pray with an ill mind, you will not get the desired result. So we have to learn many things. Every action done in the epics, or everything we have done in our ancestral, as our chief guest told, the rituals, whatever we heard, everything is based on the profound knowledge, profound system. So the same Indian knowledge we wanted to revive. For the past 2 days, the participants have deliberated many things. You may be a researcher, you may be a teacher, you may be a policy maker. Only one thing I make a request before concluding. Let us not leave this hall as a participant of this conference. You ask yourself, can I get at least one idea of this conference? Can I bring into my classroom? Whether any one idea for which my institution can contribute to revive the Indian knowledge system and then to sustain it. With this request, I thank all the participants who have taken their time and participated in this conference, and I thank the organizers for taking the conference at the right time, and I thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, as our chief guest has a flight to catch and he has to leave by 5:30, we are skipping on some parts, including the feedbacks and the expressions of participant. We apologize for this, but we definitely welcome your feedbacks through the mail which you have used for submitting your papers and abstract. So we apologize for it once again. And now I directly invite our chief guest, Professor Tariq Mansoor, sir, to express his remarks.
Registrar, Bharatiya Vidyapit University, Mr. G. Jaikumar ji, Professor Yugank Goyal from Flame University, Pune, Dr. Shirish Chindhade, retired principal, the organizing chairman, Dr. Vivekanand Ramkhambe, the organizing secretary, Dr. Suhas Mohite, our international participant, Dr. Philip, vice principals, deans, head of the departments, teachers, distinguished resource persons, delegates, students, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar to all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me to this valedictory function and giving me an occasion to be part of this, giving me an opportunity to be part of this. And I also congratulate the university for organizing this international conference, which I'm sure will benefit all the delegates, and not only the Bharatiya Vidyapeeth University, but other institutions also. Because once you will publish the proceedings of this conference, then I'm sure that it will go to some other institutions also. I pay my tribute to the founder, Shri Patangrao Kadamji. I had the privilege of meeting him 2-3 times. The last time I met him was in May 2017. So at that time I had just become Vice Chancellor of AMU. So he came to know that I am in Pune for some personal work. So he invited me for a very small function just to felicitate me. And I think in 2018 he expired. And I also congratulate the Secretary of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, Dr. Vishwajit Kadam, under whom this university has reached excellence as an academic institution. And all the faculties and departments, they are doing very well, including the health science affiliated colleges, which are embarking on the path of quality and affordable health care. Now, Indian knowledge systems have become more relevant in modern times. Why they have become more relevant? Because of the non-sustainable development. We are now embarking on non-sustainable development. That's why the emphasis is on sustainable development. There is renewed interest in herbal medicines. Why there is renewed interest in herbal medicines? Because all the drugs of the allopathy, especially antibiotics, they have so many side effects. People are getting affected. So all over the world, including in Europe and in North America, people, they are very much interested in herbal medicines, but at least they don't have these side effects. And they act by increasing the immunity. So that's why the Indian knowledge system, I think it is more relevant now in modern times. Earlier, of course, it was relevant. It is there since ancient times. We all know that 21st June is celebrated as the International Yoga Day all over the world. There is no major city in the world where yoga is not celebrated on 21st June. It has become very popular. It is a set of physical and mental exercises. And this is part of the Indian knowledge system. The farmers, they are moving towards organic farming because of the dangers of pesticide and chemicals. So organic farming has become so much popular these days. Then there's also, people are also moving away from the luxury-free lifestyle. Because there are many diseases and epidemics which have occurred which are due to that particular lifestyle. HIV epidemic, decades back, it was in a particular lifestyle. There are particular lifestyles which are associated with so many diseases: diabetes, hypertension, cardiac diseases, obesity. So people are moving away from luxury lifestyles. More awareness is being created to move away from those things. And now people are moving towards traditional architecture, traditional buildings. Now Ayurveda, the science of life, is based on the concept of balancing bodily elements through diet, lifestyle, and herbal treatments. So Ayurveda is also becoming popular. And we know that in Tamil Nadu there is a system which is known as the Siddha. Now it tries to maintain, the focus of Siddha is that it is on maintaining harmony between body, mind and the spirit. So Siddha is not only confined to Tamil Nadu now, it is going to other states also. Now in the inaugural function, some speakers also said that the Indian knowledge system will also help us in the decolonization of the mind also. So I think this is very relevant. Because decolonization is not only about language or education, that is also part of it. But it is about administration, it is about the justice system, it is about the architecture, it is about the culture, it is about the practices. So many things are there, because people just attribute it maybe just due to something related to the language or education, but it is something which is much wider than that. For example, temple. People think temple is just a place where you worship, but temple is not a place where you worship. Worship is there, but there's so many other things are there. People go to a temple, they meet others. It's a place where you socialize. Social interaction is there. In earlier times, it was a place where people used to store food. So if drought occurs or famine occurs, then it is available. Water used to be stored there. The history of that particular village used to be written in the temples of particular small town and village, especially in South India and Western India. So we have to maintain our culture and the practices also. Now definitely Sanskrit is the cornerstone of the Indian knowledge system, because most of the significant portion of the Indian knowledge system is encoded in Sanskrit. But Sanskrit is not the only language. There are many other languages, Tibetan language, dialects of Tibetan, some Northeast Indian languages also, where the Indian knowledge system, it is encoded. Manipuri, sorry. Yes. The Dean Faculty of Science is sitting is from Manipur. So my apologies that I called it wrong. So Manipuri, other languages of the Northeast, the Indian knowledge system is encoded in those languages also. So what is Veda? Veda, Sanskrit Veda is knowledge. So anything which is knowledge is Veda. And that's why Veda is also affixed in terms such as Ayurveda. Apart from the 4 principles of Veda, Ayurveda is affixed. Veda is affixed with Ayurveda because it is a knowledge system. Now, Indian knowledge system is basically based on tradition. So, since ancient times, this is based on tradition, and traditions have been kept passing from one generation to another since times immemorial. But reforms have also occurred in the Indian knowledge system. Significant reforms as time has passed. New things have also evolved in the Indian knowledge system. So it is not just the ancient things which are going, but many changes have also occurred, and rightly so. So the Indian knowledge system is crucial for preserving our rich cultural heritage. The National Education Policy 2020 has provided a comprehensive framework for inclusion of the Indian knowledge system in the educational curriculum. So I'm sure that this conference will help not only the Bharatiya Vidyapith but other institutions also in incorporating the Indian knowledge system in the curriculum framework. The Ministry of Education, Government of India has established a division of Indian knowledge systems, and they have also established regional institutions also to acclimatize and expose the people to the Indian knowledge systems. So I am sure that the deliberations of this conference will have benefited all of you. And as I said earlier also, and I repeat, that the deliberations will also help other institutions, not only in the state of Maharashtra, but all over India, in incorporating the Indian knowledge system as part of their curriculum at various levels. So I once again thank the organizers, especially the chairperson of the organizing committee, the organizing secretary, for giving me an opportunity to interact with you. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We are towards the conclusion of this ceremony, but before I call on stage Dr. Prashant Patil sir to propose the vote of thanks, मी आपणा सर्वांना उद्याच्या गुढीपाडव्याच्या शुभेच्छा देऊ इच्छिते. चैत्राची सोनेरी पहाट, नव्या स्वप्नांची नवी लाट, नवा आरंभ, नवा विश्वास, मराठी नव्या वर्षाची करूया उद्यापासून सुरुवात. गुढीपाडव्याच्या सगळ्यांना हार्दिक हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. And also Eid Mubarak to all my brothers and sisters. And now I invite on stage convener of this conference, Dr. Prashant Patil, Head, Department of Commerce, YM College, to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Namaskar. Before I start with the vote of thanks, there is one announcement from the organizing committee. The certificates and your payment receipts will be available at the registration desk where you yesterday registered at the registration counters. So with my humble tribute to Honorable Founder, Chancellor Dr. Patangrao Kadam Sahib, it's my proud privilege to extend heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of organizing committee and our institution. This conference has been a remarkable journey of intellectual exchange, meaningful discussions, and insightful deliberations. And it would not have been possible without collective efforts and team spirit. First and foremost, the gratitude towards our chief patrons, Honorable Vijay Kadam Tata Vaini Sahib, Honorable Secretary, Dr. Vishwajit Kadam Sir, Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Shivaji Rao Kadam Sir, Honorable Dr. Asmita Jagtap Tata Tai Sahib, and Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Vivek Savji, and Joint Secretary, Dr. K.D. Zadav Sir, and Dr. M.S. Savare Sir. Truly, it's a support system of our college. Under their guidance and support, we are encouraged to conduct such events. I also extend my gratitude to the dignitaries of today's valedictory session, Chief Guest, Honorable Professor Tariq Mansoor Sir, Honorable Mr. Jay Kumar Sir, Honorable Professor Yugang Goel Sir, and Dr. Shirish Chindade for their valuable presence. I express my gratitude towards the knowledge partners and co-sponsors for this international conference. My heartfelt gratitude to dignitaries of inaugural session, Chief Guest Honorable Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, Keynote Speaker Dr. Mohan Raghavan, Honorable Dr. Shailendra Devwankar, International Delegates Dr. Lucy Guest and Dr. Philip Rusinski, the chairperson and the resource persons for all the sessions. I also extend my thanks to the chairpersons and evaluators for the oral and poster presentations. I also thanks to the principals and directors of all the institutes and units of Bharati Vidyapit University for their immense contribution and active participation. A special mention to the team IMED for their active support in execution. Thanks to all the participants. Yes, please, you can have. Thanks to all the participants for their overwhelming response to the conference and to make it a great success. Thanks to the organizing president of the conference and in charge principal of the college, Dr. V.R. Khambe sir, for his continuous support and guidance. The special mention, the organizing secretary, Dr. Suhas Moite sir, for his exceptional planning and seamless execution. Just to highlight the hospitality, accommodation, ambience, and giving an executive touch to the conference, we are thankful to Dr. Suhas Moite sir. Coordinator of the conference, Dr. Smita Vedpatak, convener, Dr. Onkar Gurav, for their support and hard work. Vice Principal of YM College, Dr. G.V. Madi sir and Dr. S.S. Patil sir, for their continuous guidance and support. Head of all the departments, anchors of all the sessions, members of stage committee, accommodation committee, food and hospitality committee, and all other committee members, last but not the least, all the teachers for their participation and active engagement, and non-teaching staff for their support, and all those who have contributed towards the success for this conference. Extremely sorry, and my sincere apologies that I forgot to mention the support from Law College team. It's equally important that means they have made this arrangement for us. Thank you so much to the team Law College, please. Once again, that tomorrow we are going to welcome the Chaitra Shuddha Pratipada Marathi Navavarsh. आपणा सर्वांना पुनश्च एकदा मराठी नूतन वर्षाच्या हार्दिक हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. हे प्रेम आणि जिव्हाळ्याचे संबंध असेच असू देत हीच ईश्वरचरणी प्रार्थना करतो. आणि अध्यक्षांच्या सॉरी. सो आय कन्क्लूड अँड थँक्यू सो मच.
We have a request to make to all the participants. Registrar sir will elaborate the same.
I have only one request to all the participants. As the outcome of this conference, before leaving this hall, I want you to repeat one sentence. Please, will you do? I am leaving this hall as an ambassador of Indian knowledge system. Thank you.